Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Mod Driven. The Honda Civic may be going this year. It may be gone this year. Sooner than later, later than sooner. I haven't decided yet. There's something else that's caught my eye, something brand new, redesigned that is, and it's something that I really never liked before. I certainly never would have considered getting one in its previous design or iteration. So let me tell you what it is. I think it is absolutely awesome looking. Okay, let me tell you what it is I'm talking about doing. Now, some of you may say, well, gee, you just got the Civic. You haven't had it that long, and I thought you loved that car. I do love that car. It's one of my all-time favorites, but I am a YouTuber, and honestly, I'm a little fickle when it comes to vehicles. There's always the latest and greatest thing out there, and something else has caught my eye. It is the 2023, I can't believe I'm even saying it, Toyota Prius. You know, I have made fun of the Prius so many times, as many others have, on my other channels, Rob Motive and Rob Motive JT. That I can't believe I'm even saying it. But Toyota did it. They've made a convert out of me, at least so far. They went and redesigned the Prius and turned it into something that I am actually digging, interested in getting. So I went through and I wrote down some specs because there's some things that I look at before I get any car that it has to meet. So I'm going to kind of compare the two, and I know the Prius is a hybrid electric, the Honda is a 2-liter naturally aspirated, this is a manual, that's a CVT, so obviously I know there are differences, but what I'm comparing is trading off this car for the Prius, so it has to be at least equivalent or better when it comes to these things. So let's go ahead and take a look. First of all, this is a 2020 Honda Civic, 6-speed manual, 2-liter, naturally aspirated engine. It's not a turbo. The Prius, of course, it's a 2023. The model I would be interested in is the Limited. And frankly, it's because it has that cool looking big screen as well as some other things in it, front wheel drive. So let's look at the specs. Again, this is a 2-liter. The Toyota Prius is also a 2-liter. Both are 4-cylinder. Although it's a hybrid, this is naturally aspirated, as I mentioned. They both seat 5 people. I will be curious to see if the Prius is actually as big as what the Civic is in the back. I think it's probably going to be comparable. Horsepower-wise, the Civic has 158 horses at 6,500 RPM. The Prius, 194 at 6,000 RPM. I would say that's better. Torque-wise, the Civic is 138 pound-feet of torque at 4,200 RPM, whereas the Prius is 139 at 4,400 RPM. I think I would give the nod to the Honda when it comes to that. Barely. Not a big enough difference, I don't think, that you'd probably be even able to tell, but nonetheless. Weight-wise, and this is interesting, and it's probably because of the hybrid system, but the Honda weighs less. It comes in at 2,826 pounds, 2,826 pounds. Now, keep in mind, this is a coupe. The Prius would be a 4-door. The Prius comes in at 3,219 pounds, about 207 pounds, something like that, more than what the Honda Civic is. That's like driving around with an extra body in the car, right? Throw a 200-pound guy in there, and you've got the equivalent, I suppose. I would give the nod to the Honda there, by the way. Miles per gallon, well, this is very simple. While the Honda Civic is not bad, it gets 30 in the city and 38 on the highway. The Prius gets 49 in the city and 50 on the highway. Some sites, and there's some discrepancy here, say that it gets 52 both ways. Doesn't care where you're driving, still getting 52 miles per gallon. Either way, that trounces the Honda Civic. Next up, 0 to 60. And this is one thing that's pretty important to me, and I know you're probably thinking it's absurd that you're talking about 0 to 60 times in a Honda Civic or a Toyota Prius especially. You should be talking more about a Mustang or a Corvette or a Camaro, you know, something like that. But again, I'm comparing this car to the Prius. This car, the Honda Civic, goes 0 to 60 in 7.6 seconds. It's not a hypercar for sure. However, the Prius in the Limited goes from 0 to 60 in 7.1 seconds. So it's a half a second faster than the Civic is. Now, if you move on to the Prime, which is, I believe, the plug-in, I'm not sure if it's all electric or not. I don't think so, but it is a plug-in hybrid. It does it in 6.6 seconds. That's getting pretty fast. Not the model I would look at, but nonetheless, if it was sitting on the lot and it was the day I decided to pull the trigger, I might pull the trigger. There's more cost involved in that too, by the way. You have to put in some sort of a, or you should, charging station or something. That's about $700. Have to hire an electrician to do it. That's probably another, depending, $200 to $400. So you're about $1,000 into setting up your house to have a charging station for that car. Now, they're both front wheel drive. You can get an all-wheel drive, bumps up the price. It's going to bump up the weight a little bit. I think where I live, if I was in an area where we had a bunch of snow and inclement weather, maybe an all-wheel drive would be something I'd be interested in. But down here in South Texas, where it looks like that all the time, I don't know if you can see it, but it's usually sunny and hot. I don't need an all-wheel drive. Cost-wise, I thought this was interesting. How does it compare in current dollars, the Honda Civic, to the Toyota Prius? You know, back in 2020, if you were to buy this car brand new, it would have cost $22,650. In today's dollars, that's $26,635. So, yeah, it went up, I don't know, $4,000-ish dollars, something like that. But again, I'm comparing this to the Prius. So $26,635 compared to the cost of a 2023 Prius. The Prius is $34,465. It's a $7,830 difference. That's a good chunk of change, but you're also getting the latest and greatest tech. You're getting the hybrid technology, much better fuel economy. In the end, if you keep it long enough, and assuming there's no issues with it, after warranty runs out, I would think you'll offset that difference. Now, it's going to take probably quite a while, but nonetheless, eventually you would. So those are the things that I look at, and for me, the Prius, at least on paper, is good enough. It's a little bit better in some areas and falls just slightly short in others. But nonetheless, not bad enough that it would persuade me to not buy it, I guess. So I'm going to be looking for one, trying to find one around. That's another problem. They seem down here to be sold before they ever even get to the dealership, much like everything else out there right now. As far as premiums go, I'm guessing the dealerships are probably adding some sort of a premium to the price. I don't know that, and I'm curious to find out if you can actually order one, because that's probably what I would choose to do to avoid the premium and get what I wanted in the color. And speaking of color, man, most of the colors on this new body style look awesome. Take a look. These are the ones that I'm considering. I mean, check out that car. To me, it just looks awesome. Now, maybe it's one of those where pictures do it better than what it looks like in person. I don't know, because until you see it in 3D with your own eyes, you never know for sure. But typically, pictures are worse than what things look like in person. I don't know. We're going to find out. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking at the moment, unless I actually can touch one and don't like it for some reason. I'm thinking of adding that to the channel, probably trading off, I shouldn't say probably, I would trade off the Honda Civic, even though I really hate to do that. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of that. Any interest in this hot new Prius? Prius? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about the Toyota Tacoma, and Rob Motive JT, all about the Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.